Hey, everybody. Welcome to American Idol Unaired. I'm your host, Bennett Shear. Let's introduce today's unaired contestant who you didn't see on season 21 of American Idol, Sam Kiefer.
How's it going, everyone? I'm so glad to be here.
So you actually were American Idol doesn't have duos, but you auditioned kind of with someone else, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so my twin sister has been auditioning for Idol for years, and she's never gotten to like an on-camera uh audition. And she was at like the last like pre on-camera audition right before they move on, and they asked about me because she told them about uh her life, and she was like, yeah, I have a twin brother, and they're like, does he sing? And she's like, yeah. And so they asked if I would zoom in with them and meet with them, and so I just had no expectations other than just like, oh, let's go meet them and say hi to producers. And then they asked if we both wanted to go audition together on the show. It was crazy, super weird, and yeah, they've never really done that, and let alone twins. So it's just a new thing for everyone, really.
So your sister, Abigail, is that correct?
Yeah,
She's auditioned a lot of times. Have you ever done a singing competition?
I've never in my life. She's always been more, how do I put it, like out there with singing. I've always been pretty like reserved and nervous and scared to do anything about singing at all. So like I had nothing, no experience, nothing. I was going in like so scared.
Now it sounds like you two. It's not like you were a duo that was performing out and about, or were you before this opportunity?
No, we weren't. We've always like grown up like singing together in the house or whatever, or like when family comes over, they're like, "Hey, sing us a song," and and we'll do that. But like never perform. We now do because we realized in the American Idol process that we can do this. But before we had no like past experience singing together, so we zoomed in and met all the producers, and they asked us to both like sing a song separately, and then they asked if we could like try to sing together on Zoom. But at the time I was living in Missouri and Abby was here in Florida, so I was zooming in from a different state, and so we were trying to like sing and harmonize, but there's a delay because it's it's like a video meeting. So like as she's singing, I'm like harmonizing just behind her, and I don't know if it worked, but it was enough for them to I guess like us, and they asked if we wanted to audition on camera in front of the Katie, Luke, and Lionel. And I remember after that was done, I went out to dinner with some friends, and I was like, guys, I'm gonna go audition for American Idol. It's super crazy. Here's how it happened. And one of the first things I said to them was like, you never think it's possible to like make it in the music industry until now I have this opportunity thrown in front of me. And so now it's like, okay, it is possible. So you do leave, whether you make it all, like super far in the show or all the way, or you just have an audition, you're told no out the gate. It's like, it's possible. And it opens up a new door, if you will.
I'm also really interested in your individual journeys, and hopefully I'll get to talk to Abby. But for you, I just want to know kind of growing up what that was like to find a passion for music and how you got there. And way before Idol, how did you fall in love with music?
So my most of my family has always been like affiliated with music. My uncle is like a music pastor at his church, and my mom has sang forever and a day, and my dad sings, but he tries to act like he can't sing. It's my dad.
Humble.
Yeah, humble guy. He really is. Because of that, so my grandma has taught piano forever and a day, way longer than I've been alive. And so when we were like super little, I want to say like, gosh, I don't know how old we were, young, like really young. I don't know if I was like even 10 yet. Maybe I was like 8 or 9, doesn't matter, super young. She started teaching us piano. Like I liked it, it was fine, until like eventually I realized I'm like pretty good at piano, and then I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I always knew I could sing, but I tried to like act like I couldn't, and eventually my mom was like, stop acting like you can't sing, just sing, it's okay. So I started falling in love with music when I was really young, taking piano lessons and learning how to play guitar, learning how to sing, and learning how to harmonize and all that stuff. And then when I was like 12, I watched Coldplay's live in Paris film called Live 2012, and I just first I fell in love with Coldplay, and two, I was like, man, if this is like what music is, I would love to do this. This is so cool. I'll never put myself out there, so I can never do it. But if I put myself out there, I would love to do it, you know?
I feel like so much of it is about the way they affect people, because that one band or that one artist, like when you have that feeling of like, oh, they really touch people, and you know how you felt when you listened to it, you think, oh, what if I could do the same thing? It's almost like music is, I don't know, I think of it less from the fame perspective and what it would be like to sell the records and have people know your name, but just to kind of create that feeling, like the feeling, not the fame.
There is a weird energy that is so hard to explain whenever you're either playing and people are listening, or if you're at a concert. There's this weird energy that is so contagious, and it feels like so good. I think that's part of the reason why I love music, is just like playing it feels great, and having people listen feels great, and then people joining in to sing or to play or to gig or whatever it is. It's just like there's some, what's what I'm looking for. It's like a very natural like togetherness that we all can't help but feel like unified in that moment. Does that make sense?
I think you described American Idol filming in a nutshell.
Kinda, yeah, yeah.
Right? Getting to set wherever you auditioned and just meeting these contestants. I don't know if you had that campfire sitting around playing guitar kind of experience.
Oh yeah, dude. Playing with all the contestants in like the holding areas, and hearing like such crazy talent where I'm like, dude, so I auditioned in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was sitting with Abby, my sister, and then I was sitting with, who else was there? Colin, Ian was there, and I can't remember his name, but some Australian dude.
Connor?
Yes, Connor. Yes, yes. We were sitting around, and then Ian started to sing, and my first thought was, well, two. I said, one, he's gonna win, and so far, it's looking pretty good. My prediction: one, he's gonna win, and two, where has this dude been all this time? Because he's like so good. And then I hear somebody else sing. I'm like, where have you been? And then it's just like, are they literally? It makes. I never really cared about American Idol or really like, AGT or any competition really, or any like The Voice. But now that I saw how much talent is around the world that we just have no idea is there, and now it makes sense why we have these shows like American Idol, is to bring out these artists that are just hidden, and they're all like nobodies until there's somebody. You know what I mean?
It sounds like you had some perspective as we all become sort of jaded to why these shows are still on TV. It's because it gives these artists a platform, and maybe the platform is not even so much as only to, give them an audience of viewers, but to bring them together with people like you get to meet other musicians. And I think the community is something that wouldn't honestly exist if it weren't for these shows, because you get to come together.
Yeah, they literally said one of the first things they told us when we landed in New Orleans, they put us all in this room, and they were like, hey, here's what we're going to do, this, this, and this. You're going to be tired, all the things. And they're like, meet your fellow contestants, because, yeah, you're competing against them, but also, like, you are going to meet some people, like, you have great connections. You're going to meet some really good people that are going to be good friends, and you have no idea. And then within hours, we're just like, it's whenever you see, like, somebody get a no, and they don't get a golden ticket from the judges, you are more sad that you're probably not going to see them again than you are the fact that they got told no. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and you're shocked because you know how good they are.
Dude, literally, there were so many times I was like, dude, how is that a no? I don't understand. I know we can't all go to Hollywood, but man, how are you telling them no?
Did you go to Hollywood?
I did go to Hollywood. It was the craziest. It was very bittersweet. Abigail did not go to Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
She got a no from Luke and a no from Katie, and a yes from Lionel. And then I got a no from Luke and then a yes from Lionel and Katie. Luke just said that he feels like he didn't like hear enough to like really make a strong decision. So he's going to say no. And then Katie and Lionel are like, yeah, go for it. So super cool. I was so shocked when they said you're going to Hollywood. I stood there and just like stared at them. And then Abby like nudged me and said, say thank you. And I was like, oh, I was like so shook. I could not believe it. And because like Abby's a much better singer than I am, So there's just like a lot to it, but it was just like, it was weird to like celebrate and be happy, but also like mourn and be sad for her.
Mhm.
Cause like this has like been her dream for years. She's been trying since she was like 15 years old. And then I show up out of nowhere and then in one try, get it. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
yes, I did go to Hollywood and then I got there and I met even better singers. And I was like, whoa, dude. It was to say it was like intimidating is like an understatement.
Let's kind of walk through the process a little bit. So you met the judges, and having your sister there, I know for any of the contestants that walk in there with someone they know, it probably helps a little with the nerves, eases the calm a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. We walked in and a lot of the contestants said that they once they walk in, all their nerves just like went away and they're like, oh, I'm totally fine. That's not the case for me. I was still like shaking in my shoes, so scared. But it was very comforting having Abby there next to me. It was really fun. She sang first, and then they had me sing, and then they judged us both after that. And we for about like maybe 10-ish minutes, for a little while, we just talked to the judges and talked and laughed, and they got to know us. And it's like really, really cool. And that did help the nerves a bit, but we were still both nervous. And Abby says she wasn't nervous, but she was nervous. Um, and she'll say that. She will, I think. I hope. We'll see. She sang, and I just went and like stood by the piano, and I just watched her, and I was like so proud and so excited, and I was just smiling, and it was fun to like watch Luke, Katie, and Lionel just watch her and see like the producers on the other side of the room and just watch them. Everybody just like listen, just look at Abby, and Abby just do her thing, and like that was just getting in front of the judges was like her dream by itself. So it's like she won, you know what I mean? So it's like super cool. And then I sang and I sat at the piano and I played and sang, and Abby stood over by the producers, I think. Yeah, she did. And I remember just singing and playing. I could see her just same thing, just smiling at me and watching the judges. And it was like so cool. And then we went back into the center of the like oval. And once I was done singing, I was just like, I could breathe, you know? And after that, I was like, whatever happens, happens. I am honored and super lucky to have done this anyway. A lot of people don't get that opportunity. Oh, excuse me. So I was like, I was good. And they talked about Abby and critiqued her and praised her where she was great and critiqued her where she needed critiquing. And same thing with me. They critiqued me and then praised me and all that stuff. And then they voted. And then when Abby started getting no's, my first thought was like, okay, I'm not going to Hollywood either. And I like had just reconciled it right then and there. I wasn't sad. I was fine. Maybe like a little bit disappointed, but I was like, I mean, honestly, it's not the end of the world. This is still cool. I can still flex it on the boys. You know what I mean? And then they all told her no. Lionel then he goes, I'll give you a yeah so you can like, you know, rub it in your brother's face. And we all kind of giggled. And then Luke looked at me. He goes, hey, I didn't hear enough. So I'm just going to say no. And then I was like, yeah, of course. And then Katie stares at me and she smiles and she goes, I'll give you a yeah. I kind of like you. She said I'm a storyteller. She said she wants to hear more, but she does see great potential. So she'll give me a yes. And then my face like kind of just dropped. And then Lionel stared and he sat there for a good minute and just was quiet and was thinking. And then he was like, I'll give you a yes. I want to hear more as well, but I do see great potential. And they said the biggest thing that I had that Abby didn't is they said she doesn't really know who she is as an artist yet. She needs to find like her identity. And part of me is like, I agree with that. And giving her like a year to figure out who she is as an artist and come back and audition again if she wants is good. The other part of me is like, well, let's guide her in that and let's help her figure it out and let's send her on to see, you know, what like who she is as an artist. But they told her no because of that, and they told me yes because see, I know who I am as an artist. I know my strengths, but they want to see more. And I remember I was just so shook, and I was literally speechless. Like at the most literal definition of speechless, I just didn't say a word. And then Abby made me say thank you, and I was like, oh, thanks guys, and grabbed the ticket. And I remember I walked out. My mom and my dad came with us to our audition, and I walk out, show my ticket, we all celebrate, My dad hugs me, and I just start just like wailing in his arms. I just felt so bad for Abby. And the whole time my dad's like, he's like smiling and saying congrats. And I'm like, no, Abby didn't get one. He goes like, what? And I was like, no, Abby didn't get a ticket. And then as he's holding me, and he's realizing, my mom's like, no, Abby, stop joking. Like, what happened? She's like, no, I'm not joking. I didn't get one. And it was just such a weird moment of sitting there and then talking to the producers and on camera and being like, yeah, it's cool to celebrate, but also it's really brutal. And then after that, it was a whirlwind of more filming and tons of filming and waiting and filming. And it was just tough because Abby was just sitting in the hotel room waiting to fly out, and I was out and about filming and celebrating with other contestants. So really, really cool, really, really crazy, all the things.
It can be a weird celebratory feeling though in that moment.
Yeah, it was. I never thought in a million years I'd audition for American Idol. I watched as a kid. I was like the kid who like only watched auditions because you wanted to see how bad people were and because it's hilarious. But back in the day, they would only show like terrible, like really like, how are you here right now? Like those, I loved them. And then after I was like, you're all good. I'm not gonna watch. This is actually like the first time I've watched like a complete season. Part of it is because now that I understand what it's like fascinating, but also it's like my friends are still on the show, so I want to support them and all the things. But I was just so shocked that I auditioned for American Idol on camera, met, Lionel, Luke, and Katie, and I have a golden ticket. Like, it's literally still, it's like in a binder next to my bed right now, the ticket. And it's just like the fact that there's that the ticket is there. It's crazy. And to scream on camera that I'm going to Hollywood is like the weirdest, most like surreal thing.
And you definitely were a good audition. You weren't one of those bad auditions that you watched back in the day. You knew who you were. Yeah. I was curious what song you sang.
I sang a song called Explaining Jesus by Jordy Searcy. It's just a little singer-songwriter song. It's real sweet, real intimate. I played it. It's originally played on like acoustic, but I played it on piano because I'm more confident behind a piano than I am like a guitar.
And Hollywood was a little overwhelming, I'm sure. Not in a bad way, just like,
yeah,
you go in there and all these extra singers, like 3 times the people.
Hollywood was crazy. I remember flying there, getting there, and then I got there so late, and so I went straight to the hotel room, went to bed, woke up at the butt crack of dawn, and just getting into the like waiting room to have breakfast. And there's just all these people I saw, in New Orleans was super cool. And then there was just like so many people that I haven't seen. And I could already hear them singing at literally like 7 a.m. in the morning, singing and going absolute ham, but they're killing it. I'm like, dude, how are you killing it right now? And it's 7 in the morning. But it was just so overwhelming. And then to meet our mentors, and then to go to the theater and to be in there. And then, so we didn't have Ryan in New Orleans because he had COVID, I think. Mm-hmm. So finally getting to meet and see Ryan then was like also surreal because I've seen him. Everybody knows who Ryan Seacrest is, whether it's like, New Year's Eve or Ryan and Kelly or whatever it is. We all know Ryan. So it was like super weird seeing him, meeting him. But it was just so overwhelming, the whole thing, not just like the competition part, but just like, wow, this is like real, or like passing by the front of the theater when we first get there and it just says American Idol, like Hollywood Week on the sign. It's just like, man, this is crazy. It's just like, it is on TV. It's so weird.
How far did you make it in Hollywood?
Dude, I just made it through the first round. That was it. That was day 1, which is great because day 2, I couldn't imagine how exhausting that is. But I remember after we made it, we had all these Zoom meetings before Hollywood Week, and they kept saying like, hey, it's not vacation. You're going to be tired, blah, blah, blah. And we were all like, yeah, of course, we're going to be tired. But it's just like, I was in Hollywood for 3 or 4 days, and it was like so exhausting. And I mean, it was awesome. It was so cool. I wouldn't trade a second of it for anything. But it's just like, you eat when you can eat and you sleep when you can sleep. And both is like very little, but it's just like we're all in the same boat. Producers, judges, we're all just like super tired, super hungry, super grouchy. And then like having people saying goodbye to people who don't make it, through. And then, so it's just like also emotionally exhausting. It's just every bit and every type of exhaustion there could be, there is. in Hollywood week. And it was great. It was awesome. But I remember I got on the plane to come back home and I was like, I never want to do anything again. I just want to sleep for the rest of my life, you know?
Oh my gosh. Well, did you make some close friends while you were there or meet new people?
Em is one of the boys. So actually, it's really funny. Em, when I met him in New Orleans, he thought I was some friend of his from like middle school. And he's like, hey, don't you know you from middle school? I was like, nope. No.
Maybe he was punking you.
Oh, I thought the same thing. I'm like, no. And he was like, oh, no, dude, I know you. Don't lie to me. I'm like, no, I'm not lying to you. He's like, no, you're gaslighting me. And I was like, no, Ian, I'm not gaslighting you. I don't know you, but now I do. I'm Sam. It's so nice to meet you. And then we hung out all in New Orleans. Then we got to Hollywood. He sees me, makes a beeline. He hugs me and he's like, dude, I can't believe you lied to me. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, I know you from middle school. And I was like, dude, no, you don't. I don't know how many times I need to tell you. And I thought he was joking. I was like, you're joking. He's like, no, I'm dead serious. And so now the running joke is whenever he texts me, he'll be like, hey, dude, don't I know you from middle school? And every time just like, no, you don't. But dude, so good to see you. You're doing great on the show.
Oh my gosh. Watch him like make it like go to the end of the earth to like Photoshop a yearbook. He's like, I told you, like he finds like his yearbook and like Photoshops your picture in it like a little boy and it's like, that's you, right?
I actually, no joke, I literally thought about trying to like really dig deep into him and see if I could Photoshop myself into anything. But gotcha. I do know you from middle school. I still might do it now to think about it. I think it'd be really funny. Em is one of the boys. There's this guy named Sam Hastings. He actually lives like 20 minutes from where I am right now. And he is so good. Kind of like Americana, folky, has like nice rasp. So good. So he's one of the guys. Noelle, she was on the podcast a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah. She's so cool.
I cannot pronounce her last name. I love Noelle. I'll just ask her how to pronounce it for the 5th time. I think that's really it. Everybody else, like everybody kind of just hangs, you know. But yeah, Noelle, Sam, and Em were like the people.
The thing is, like, you guys are all one big community, and no one even knows who's gonna air or not air, including the people that make it far. Like, for all Em knew, he could have been like, I don't know what they're gonna do with me, you know. And everyone, I mean, like. Everybody says that it's like, oh, it doesn't feel like a competition. But the other thing is, genuinely, everyone is so humble that the people who win, the people who make top 5, 3, 10, they're not sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to, blow everyone out of the water and get aired and become the next American Idol, because you're all just kind of there and it could happen to anybody. So the friendships that you make, you're all kind of experiencing this one show together and not knowing what the producers have in mind or what the judges have in mind. I feel like maybe part of the bond is like, none of you know what to expect. And then there's a lot of pride when, whoever makes it goes far. And because it's so supportive, like we're seeing now, just the support. I see it on social media, like, because you guys have all known each other for months now. And I'm sure it's exciting to see your friends go on and make it far and possibly win.
I was pretty taken aback by like the amount of humility is like genuinely in the competition. I had the assumption that like everybody, in New Orleans or in Hollywood, we all know we're good. Yeah. So it's like we're all competing. So we're all just going to be like friends, but in reality, we're all like enemies, but like, no, so we're all just friends. And when we're at Hollywood week and somebody goes up to sing and they play or they sing or whatever, it's like the clapping after they're done is like not because we're told to by producers. It's because we're so proud of like, man, whether or not you make it onto the next round or not, or I make it onto the next round or not, it's like you just did that. That takes a lot of guts. Good for you. Good job. Cause it's like literally just it's your friends. If you go to your friend's football game, they throw a great touchdown, man, that's my boy. You know what I mean?
It's amazing. It really is. And very random, but I just had a flashback. I think Noelle's last name is Sue Collis. I don't know. She'll listen, she'll laugh, and she'll tell you.
Dude, I met her as Noelle. She didn't say her last name. So, I'm Noelle. I'm Sam. Nice to meet you. And then when we follow each other on Instagram, I was like, oh, dude, I don't know how to say this. TS, like, I'm not even going to try. I'm not going to try. I hear from Noelle all the time. I hear from Em all the time. Sam, he lives here, so I see him. He's great. He's always gigging around, so it's fun to go to bars and listen to him play. And follow him. And it's fun to follow everybody's like journey and who's releasing music and who's writing and who's recording and who's still on the show and who, you know, was on the show for a while and now they're not, but they're going to be in the finale because they made it to the top, whatever, you know? So dude, also Matt, wow. Matt Wilson. He is one of, if not the sweetest human being I think I've ever met. He is just so down to earth, so humble, so kind. And there's just like this sweetness to him that is just unexplainable. He's great. He's the last one of the boys, one of the people, you know?
Yeah.
I love him.
Did they give you a celebrity or alumni mentor before?
We had, so I was part of like the group mentoring, no, not the one-on-one.
Okay.
I had Jordan and
Justin?
Yes, Justin. I cannot say his last Gorini, something like that.
Yeah, precisely.
Did I say it right? Dude, all these last names are crazy. Gorini. So I had Jordan and Justin, and they were so cool. After we were done filming, I went up and got to talk to them for a little while. It was actually super, super cool. And they're like so kind. And Jordan is so beautiful. It's unreal. It's crazy. It's not like man, she's so pretty, but like it's just like there's like superstar pretty, and then there's like naturally pretty, and then there's this weird like where they meet, and that's like her sweet spot. Beautiful. Anyway, super random. So sorry.
I mean, was there anything that like stuck with you as far as the mentors or even the judges? Like, man, like, because I feel like you had this opportunity to learn from best of the best in the industry, and I don't know if you worked at all with the band or vocal coaches or anything like that, but you had 2 performances on the show. Do you remember anything from people working behind the scenes or the judges or mentors that stuck with you? I know that's a lot of people, but
yeah, a lot of people. Lionel, he is a sweetheart. I love that man. He said to me, both on camera and off camera, in both in New Orleans and in Hollywood, talked about my ability to tell stories and how that comes very much in handy when trying to connect with an audience. And he was talking about like both in music and not in music, of just like, he said, told me that I feel hard, which I do. I'm very much in touch with my emotions, which I am. And he said, I'm a great storyteller. And he said, I need to lean into that to reach and to touch people, because like being able to connect with somebody, even if like one person, that's all you need. All you need to do is connect with one person, is what he said. And he said, it's going to come naturally to me. And I just need to lean into that, whether I'm playing music or just talking to people or at a coffee shop or whatever. Like if I can just come in contact with one person and have a connection, like that will go so far in all things, really.
Yeah, what an opportunity, man, just to be there with judges and your peers. I really think people at home also don't understand that it is an opportunity to perform in front of fellow musicians, these other contestants, because it's just cool to like join in music with other people that do the same thing as you, and the feeling it evokes to just, I feel like I gotta imagine there were some like emotional moments too, just like there's the powerful performances, there's the uplifting moments, there's the fun performances, there's the ballads, but just the sense of community that there is in that room when you're doing the performance challenges and everybody gets to watch that.
Yeah, it's super fun. And those challenges, dude, just being able to sit there and you just look around and everybody is just watching our friend on stage, and we're all just like smiling and just like it's just so cool and exciting. And there's, like you said, like such community, and it's just rooting on your friend to do, and they're doing their best, and that's like what matters. Whether or not they are the best in the room, they're doing their best, and like it's just so fun. And for a lot of us in like Hollywood, it was like kind of out of our comfort zone. So like, being able to like break out of our shell and just do what we love, which is like music, whether and like there is a sense of like terror and honestly and fear that like it's nerve-wracking to sing in front of the judges. And then when you add all these musicians, it's, I don't know, for whatever reason, I was way more nervous in Hollywood than I was to audition for the judges because of my peers who I was singing in front of. It's just being you know, like you're sitting around for hours and hours and you're talking about what you're going to sing and you're like singing it with them and they're critiquing you and all that stuff. And then like, there's a sense of like not wanting to let them down, whether or not you make it, you know, to the next round or all the way or not. It's like, you don't want to let your peers down. So there's this like added on pressure when performing in Hollywood. And then watching, there's just this added on like nerves of like, man, I don't want them to do bad, because then they're gonna be really embarrassed, and that's really tough. So it's just a crazy time, man. It's a crazy time.
What did you sing, by the way, for Performance Challenge?
I sang Brand New by Ben Rector.
Oh, I love that song.
Dude, great song.
I don't know if I've heard anyone do it on the show.
Dude, I don't know if anybody's done it on the show before at all. I was gonna do Landslide by Fleetwood Mac, but then there was like a licensing issue. So like the night before, it was like literally I was in my bed at like 9:30 and my phone rings to one of the producers and she's like, "Hey, we found out you can't do Landslide. Can you do anything else?" And I was like, Brand New by Ben Rector. She goes, "Yeah, that works." I go, "Great, I'll do that one." So then I stayed up in my room, just quietly, just playing and singing it, just trying to get, you know, the lyrics down and the feel down and all the things. And it was so much fun. It was, I remember I walked off stage after it was done and, you know, you walk off and you go straight into like a little interview, whatever. And then as soon as I was done, I like texted my mom. I was like, "Mom, that was like the funnest thing like I've ever done in my life. Like, I don't care how far I go. That right there was like the funnest thing I've done in my life."
And I know you did not make it past this round. So what were kind of the emotions there?
I wasn't honestly as disappointed as I thought I would be. You know, you walk off stage and everybody like assumes, they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "I'm okay. I'm okay." And at that moment I knew, I was like, okay, I'm going to go home, or I'm going to, you know, go back and I'm going to move and hang out with Abby and we're going to do music together and all this stuff. So I was like excited for that. And in the end, like I told myself no matter how far I got, it was like an honor and a privilege to be where I was. So if I don't make it as far as I'm hoping, that is okay, because it's one of the coolest and luckiest things I've ever been a part of, like ever. So I was like sad and disappointed for like a little bit, but I was just so grateful and so filled with so much joy and happiness that like it did not matter, you know?
Yeah. I am really anxious to hear you sing, man, because
Okay.
I want to get right to it. Well, I want to talk about Post Idol and I want to hear what's coming up for you. But first, I just really want to hear this performance because I'm just so stoked to hear your voice. So, but tell me, what are you singing? Why did you choose the song that you're going to sing?
Well, I was going to sing Explaining Jesus, my audition piece, but I can play Brand New if you like.
Whatever you want, man.
I'll do Brand New. I feel like new sunglasses, like a brand new pair of jeans. I feel like taking chances. I feel a lot like 17. I feel like windows roll down new city streets and cries. I feel like anything can happen, laughing you take me right back when we were kids. Never thought I'd feel like this, like when I close my eyes, don't even care if anyone sees me dancing. I can't fly, and they don't even think of touching the ground. Like a heartbeat skip, like an open page, like a one-way trip on an aeroplane. It's the way that I feel when I'm with you. Brand new. Time will always try to make us whole. You remind me what I used to know. But when I close my eyes and don't even care if anyone sees me dancing, like I can't fly, and they don't even think of touching the ground. Like a heartbeat skip, like an open page, like a one-way trip on an airplane. It's the way that I feel when I'm with you.
I was wondering, like, I was curious if it like transported you to being back on the stage when you were singing it.
Oh, dude, 100%. When I did this in Hollywood, out of the, I was, so how I played it right then was how I was going to play it when I performed. But then out of the bridge, it just felt like so good in the room. And so I played like an instrument. I sang just a vocal chorus, and then I had them all clap to the beat, and it felt
Oh yeah,
great.
oh, that's
It felt
awesome.
really good. And then I went back into
Yeah.
another course after that. It was great.
By the way, if you wouldn't mind, I mean, would you want to play a little bit of Explaining Jesus? Because I'm just curious to hear like how the two compared.
Yeah. Oh, they're very different.
Because you know that's like one of the most upbeat songs that I've heard on the podcast, just as far as like an acoustic arrangement, because it's so fast and it's
Yeah.
cool. You know, it brought something different, which is why I felt so transported. But I'm really curious to hear what you did with that other song.
If you're getting over 85 and fought for your whole life, that when God made you, He just messed up. If you've been raised a Southern belle, born and bred for show and tell, but you lie down feeling never good enough, I'm so sorry for how it's been. We're broken artists with broken pens. We paint our pride and call it truth. I'm sorry no one explained Jesus to you. Oh, can't you feel it in the room? Oh, all he wants is you. All he wants is you. I'm so sorry for how it's been. We're broken singers with broken songs. We paint our pride and call it truth. I'm sorry no one explained Jesus to you. I'm sorry no one explained Jesus to you.
I've never heard that song before, but you perfect. It was just so.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, like I could listen to you sing that all day, seriously.
Wow. Thank you. Wow.
And I thought it was cool to hear the two different songs and
Yeah.
compare them.
Very different songs.
Indeed. I really feel that it'd be special to hear that live, and you know, I'd love to see you perform live someday. And I'm curious if you want to talk about any either shows you have coming up or just upcoming releases, because I want to hear a whole lot more of you.
Man, shows coming up. I can't say yet, but we have a few irons in the fire, if you will. I'm super excited. It's going to be great. I'm here in Tampa, Florida. It's going to be really, really cool. Me and Abby are working on a couple songs right now, hoping to record in the summer, release not long after. So we're working hard. We'll post all of our shows and songs and all that stuff. We have a page together. It's at We Are Kiefer, Kiefer. And then I'll obviously post anything and everything on mine, which is just the Sam Kiefer on all social media.
Nice. Guys, if you want to follow us, you can do so at Unaired Podcast, Instagram, and TikTok. You can follow me at TV Music Guy. Sam, really appreciate you being a part of American Idol Unaired.
It's been a pleasure, dude. Thanks so much.